Hello YouTubers, welcome back to GQ Auto Diagnostics and Repair, where my job is to save you money. This morning I'm working on a 1995 Chevy Silverado V8 automatic 4x4, and show a video of the rear brakes on one side, passenger side, and I was started to work on the driver's side, and I found that the Axle seal started leaking. Okay, hopefully you guys can see it on the camera. Okay, that shiny area, it is oil. So we need to replace the axle seal. But to get to it, we have to remove the differential cover, remove the lug, the pin, the bolt locks the pin, remove the C clamps or the C lock, whatever you want to call it. I will show you how to do it. All right, so I will show two different ways to do it. This side you will see it, that is okay, all the shoes are removed because that's what I was doing. I wanted to replace the shoes, the wheel cylinder, the boot, the dash boot is torn. So but I saw that I'm gonna show it two different ways, one without the shoes and the other one with the shoes, how to take care of that. The next thing, this is gonna be some of the tools they're gonna be using. I'm gonna be using a hammer, a chisel, okay, and this tool to remove the seals. Now the reason I'm gonna use two different methods, because sometimes some of you might don't have this tool and you can probably get a chisel, so that way you guys can have two different ways. It's gonna be a half an inch socket, a little bit extension. Sometimes I like to have two different length of sockets. Okay, you can see this one versus this, because sometimes in some vehicles the spare tire might be in the way and I need to the depth to adjust it and don't have to move a lot of stuff around. I'm gonna use this little tool, the Milwaukee. Again, I'm not getting sponsored by Milwaukee to say what I'm using. 8mm socket, 8mm wrench, and a flathead screwdriver. All right, so let's get to the video. In a rack, and you need something to collect the oil. Okay, this vehicle comes with a 10-volt differential. Excuse me. So we're gonna start to remove this one. On the differential, all these bolts are the same length, so you don't have to worry about which one goes where. All right, so just keep that in mind. Put your bolts on one side so that way they don't get in the way, or you can kick them. Okay, so just remember that. I always like to leave one on the top. Huh. This silicone is still fresh. That's weird. Anyhow. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to use this. I know I just said it. Okay. I'm gonna use the chisel a little bit here. Never use it on the bottom, because if you twist the cover on the bottom, you're gonna have a hard time getting the cover to seal. So start from the top, because the oil usually is gonna sit here about this level. So here's gonna be less chances of a leak. Let me see. Yep, all the bolts. There you go. Change that oil to Gonna bring, okay, so this differential does have a limited slip, so I'm going to need to lift this side so I can just rotate the differential so I can remove that bolt that I was telling you about, guys. So let me do that so I can continue the video in a minute. Alright guys, so we're back at it again, and here's the differential. I didn't need it to lift the other wheel. Sometimes some differentials, the limited slip doesn't allow you to, it's kind of tight, so it's best practice just to lift both wheels and rotate that the differential. Okay, anyhow, so here's the bolt that I was referring to right there. Let me close this. That is the bolt, so we need to remove that bolt so we can actually remove the pin right there where the light is, so it will allow us to bring remove those C-locks that are inside and a little bit. So let me do this first so we can just go ahead and do it. 8mm, and this is loose. Wow, give me a second. Here, that's the bolt. Now, one thing that I personally like to do, I want to make sure this pin comes very close to the edge of this, the bottom of the differential. So what it does, it allows me to have this opening easier for me to access instead of trying to this hole, this opening go to the top. So it is easy for me to see like this. So that's what I want to do now. And sometimes, like this occasion, this this thing is rotating. All right, let's see with this. Okay, now there you go. Now the key it is right now, after this, do not rotate the differential anymore. I don't know if the camera can capture right here. Gonna clean that up a little bit, but anyhow, it's not too bad. So this is the pin, only goes one way, so you want to make sure that goes on the bottom so you can put the bolt in, and don't forget to tighten it. Now the next thing that we need to do here, we need to push the axle. Okay, the axle here, push it in, so that way right there, let me see if I can we will be able to see the C log to be exposed because it's going to move in, and with a magnet we're going to remove it. All right, so give me a second. Much so we can pull it, but I want to get as much as I can in camera. That is the C log right there. So we're gonna use a magnet to get this thing going. All right, so let me go get. All right guys, so this is how we're gonna do it. Gonna use a magnet because it's the only thing that I have here, like this. Okay, so we're gonna put this thing right there. If you have a thinner one, go for it. And we're gonna do one side at a time. So the next thing that we're gonna do, I'm gonna put a trusty camera on this side. I'll try to give you a better angle in a minute. So I'm gonna remove that out of there. Put this here just in case it leaks a little bit of oil and I have to clean this area. So the next thing is going to be moving the axle just like that. There's a couple things that we need to focus on the axle, and that's why we put all the to catch the oil here. We need to make sure that here on the end of the axle where this seal rides, we don't have a groove. If you feel a groove with the fingernail over here, that will be a sign that we need a new axle. This one is fine right there, so at this moment it should be okay. Every time that you're doing a brake job, it is very important for us to check with those axle seals. Other way, if we don't do it and we just replace the brake pads, eventually that oil is going to find its way into the seal. And what's going to happen is going to destroy or ruin our brake job. So we're going to clean this a little bit and we're going to go here. All right, let me get a different rag. All right, so my hands are cleaner. Two things that we can do. Number one, we can use this tool right here. Okay, with this tool you're gonna put it here and you're gonna hold it there. So you can see it's already starting to break loose. You can do it like that. If you don't have this tool, you can use a chisel and come right here. Start from the top. Never start from the bottom, because again, if you create a groove on the bottom, eventually will start leaking. So you don't want to do that. Oil, gravity is going to keep it on the bottom. When it's running, yeah, it's going to splash all the way around, but for the most part, it should not leak. So you start always from the top. In this case already, it's coming loose. Not all the time it's going to come loose just like that, okay? And this time, for kind of like, you know, lucky or blessed. And that's it. All right, so let me put the camera down here for a second. Clean our tool really quick. And let me do one thing. use my flashlight to take a look at those bearings. Those bearings, I want to make sure they don't have any like missing pieces or like little holes in it, indentations. They tell me that the bearing need to be replaced. So far everything nice, shiny and even, so I'm not going to worry about the bearing. The bearing seems to be okay. And give me a second, I'll make sure you guys get on a good angle here. Sometimes it's hard to know for the light. And this is the part that I'm going to be using to replace those seals. That is the part number. I am not getting sponsored by this company, so I want to make sure that is clear. That is the part number. The other thing that I like to do, I like to grab the old one, okay, and just compare them. That's why it's best when it's not damaged. The chisel will usually dent it, so it's kind of hard to make sure the diameter is the same. In this case, so far so good. I'm gonna clean our seal, our axle. There you go, nice. It is the correct seal. So now, the way we're gonna do this is going to be, yes, it's gonna be leaking a little bit here, but guess what? Don't worry about it. All right, we can do two things. We can put the seal right now and clean everything, or we can clean everything and put the seal, which doesn't matter right now. What I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna install this, and I'm gonna put a rack here, and I'm gonna clean everything, so that way I don't make this video super long, because I know some of you guys like to go to the point, but some of you guys, and it's always a good practice to know the reason why we're doing things. Okay, other way we become a part changer. You don't want to be a part changer. So when you put the seal, you're gonna put it from the bottom like this, okay? You're gonna make sure that the bottom part, our goal is to make sure that bottom part goes in first. Okay, like that. Now we're gonna focus on the top. We're gonna go around like this. And you hear that the sound change. Nice and solid. So that's how we're gonna do it. Now, that is how you replace the seal. The next step that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna clean everything around it. All right, so make sure you don't put this too tight, because when you pull it, it can flip this lip and create that this spring is what keep pressure here on the seal come loose. I've seen that happen, so don't do it. Don't go too crazy about it. Just use common sense. All right, so well, that's how you remove the seal, guys. I hope you liked the video. You learned something from it. I do appreciate it if you stay to the end. And what you need to do later, after everything is done, right, before you put the axle, you're gonna put a little bit of differential fluid here. Some people like to add a little bit of grease. Doesn't matter, as long as it's lubrication there, so that way when the seal when the axle start rotating, has lubrication there, doesn't rotate dry, and reduce the amount of the life of the part. So again, if you like the video, you found value, subscribe to the channel, leave the comment down below. I will highly appreciate it, and let me know what can I do to make my videos better. And as usual, God bless, do your best, forget the rest, and I will see you in the next video. Later.